Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be recapping the quarterfinals of the Freestyle Grand Slam Tour 2025 happening in South Africa between the top players. So let's get started. I'll start the games of Magnus Carlsen and Fabiano Caruana. Okay, I'm a bit sick, so my voice might sound a bit different. Don't mind that, please. Let's start the game. Analysis. C4, B5, played by Magnus. Fabiano advances the pawn in the center. Excuse me. Ah, I'm very sick, guys. Magnus advances his pawn again, and then d4, e6, knight d3, knight e7, queen c1, f5, bishop a4, knight f6, queen c4, knight e d5, c6. c6 here allows the knight to attack the queen and the bishop, which Magnus does. Magnus attacks the queen and the bishop. Queen takes. Knight here is a great move because it attacks the queen and the queen has to move. The queen moves. It is the best move. d6, knight f3, and here Magnus pushes his pawns towards the king side of Fabiano Caruana's king, and he wants to play the following couple of moves so that he can invade on that side of the board and create an attack. He's attacking on the king side. Next, e3, g4, knight d2, bishop g5, knight c4, knight a4, queen a4, queen e8, knight a5, and here Magnus plays a brilliant move. He sacrifices his knight. And what's the idea behind it? If you capture with the pawn, then the bishop takes here, and if you protect with the rook, then obviously if you play this move, then it is very dominating for black, and the entire position is collapsing for white. And here if you play this move and you defend with the sorry the bishop will take, and if you defend with the knight, then again the same move, f4. f4 again here solidifies the position for black, and it is completely collapsing for white, as black has a huge initiative and is attacking towards the king side of the white king. So let's see. This is a brilliant move, brilliant sacrifice. Rook e1, knight d5, b4, queen g6, queen d1, rook b8, queen e2, king f7, king f7. Here again king f7 here offers a pawn for free to the black king. Black can just capture here twice and get that pawn. White here did it because this pawn over here is not really participating in the game and it is not really contributing much. So white can put his rook over on this file and create an attack over here. That is why um, white offered that pawn over there. Here black did not take that pawn because obviously sometimes you should not help your opponent develop their initiative by capturing their pieces. That is why even before you saw that when Magnus sacrificed his knight, Fabiano Caruana did not capture that knight. Right. So let's move on. Am I right? Did I say right? He didn't capture, right? Yeah, he didn't capture. I'm sorry, I was forgetting. Okay, after a couple of moves, as you can see, black is bringing his pieces together on the king side. As you can see, this pawn is over here, this pawn is over here, the bishop is over here, queen is over here, the rook is about to get over here. This bishop is controlling the king side from a distance. It is placed far away, but it is controlling this huge diagonal, which is very dangerous for white, and white can get even checkmated if it doesn't play properly. Next, Fabiano offers a queen trade. Magnus happily takes it. Rook takes. A6 is played. Knight A3. AB5. AB5. And Magnus here again plays a brilliant move. Bishop C6. Bishop c6, the idea is if you take, then rook just forks the knights and one of the knight is gonna go. So knight takes, knight goes back, pawn up, rook comes up, bishop attacks the rook, rook goes back, rook comes back, g3, rook c6, knight b4, rook c4, knight a6, rook a8. As you can see from the evaluation bar, it is completely winning for black. Black is having a dominant position. Here the knight moves. As you can see, the knight over here is on a beautiful outpost. It is controlling this square, even this and this. Sorry, this. But right now, if the knight is on an outpost, it is controlling a lot of squares. But right now, the initiative and the momentum is with black. So the knight is not doing much. It is attacking some squares which are just blank. There are no pieces that can be attacked on that side of the board. Also, that pawn is protected with the knight. So there's no point of putting that knight on that outpost. Even if it looks very good, it is not that good. Let's proceed forward. Knight h3 attacks the king. King up, pawn up, knight e6, pawn takes, rook moves over, rook e8, knight g7, king g7, rook b5, c6, rook c5, rook e4. And here, if here there was one move, Fabiano Caruana offered his rook. If Magnus had taken the rook, then obviously Fabiano Caruana had this move. He could have taken with his bishop and he could have forked the king and the rook and he could have got back his rook. That is why he did that. It's nothing very unusual, it's just tactics which the top players are playing. Rook c1 takes, king moves, rook takes, and Magnus pushes forward his pawn over the last rank to make a queen. He plays d3, rook c3, rook e2, rook takes d3, rook takes f2, king h1, rook f1 check, and after a couple of checks, this is the position. This is completely dominating for black. Caruana plays his king back, Magnus gives a check, king up, this king comes forward, the rook goes back, and after a couple of moves, Magnus plays this move, and here Fabiano Caruana resigns because slowly Magnus will put his king forward, come over to the king side, and the rooks will get exchanged. The knight is there, an extra piece, and Magnus has two pawns, and he will make a queen and win the game. So that's why this game ended in a resignation, and Magnus goes forward to the semi-finals. He will be facing Javokir Sindarov, and he's beat Fabiano Caruana. Let's move on to the next game, guys. The next game is between Hans Niemann and Levon Aronian. The game starts off with c4, b6, b4, e6. This setup, as we can see, is very common. In the following games, you will see that many players are playing this setup because in this arrangement of pieces in the freestyle chess, this looks like a very good start because the bishop is getting opened up on this diagonal. As you can see, all the, sorry, not that square, these squares are very good. The queen is also getting opened up on the king side, and it's already looking very dangerous for the kings. Even for white, the black bishop has opened up, the white bishop has opened up, it's very dangerous. e3, f5, bishop f3, bishop f6, d4, knight e7, knight cd3, g5, knight e5, bishop takes e5, takes, knight g6, bishop a8, queen a8, f3, just a minute, h5, knight d3, pawn push, knight comes to g7. A very positional type of a game. Here, Hans Niemann, long castles, knight comes up, rook comes up, knight sits on this beautiful outpost. But again, just like the last game, if you are sitting, excuse me, if you are sitting on an outpost, that is really very good, but that outpost has to serve you. If you are just sitting on an outpost and not attacking anything, any of the pieces of your opponents, it's completely useless. So this knight sitting over here is useless, it's not doing anything. Rook moves over, rook comes up, knight goes back, Queen c6, queen b3. Here b5 is played. Rook c2 takes, queen moves over. King b1, rook b8. Bishop comes up, queen goes back because it was attacked. The rooks are aligned on this file. Always follow the principles of chess. Rooks belong on open files. This is a semi-open file. Why is this a semi-open file? Because there is a pawn over here. If there was no pawn, then it would be an open file. So follow the principles of chess, play principled chess, and it will really help your chess improve. Pawn push, rook up, knight goes back. Both the knights are maneuvering to squares. The queen is attacked again, so the queen goes back. Pawn push, takes, pawn push. A3. Knight f4, king a2, rook f7, queen a4, a takes b4, rook takes b4, knight fe2, bishop b2, king h7, queen b3, rook b4, queen b4. Here there is an exchange. King g6, the rook goes to d2, knight f4, queen c4, queen c7. The pawn, as you can see, this pawn is very dangerous. This pawn is just about to get promoted after 4 pawn moves. So Levon Aronian has to be very careful. He is very low on time. He has 18 seconds. Let's see what happens. Queen goes and covers the path of the pawn. The bishop comes over here. The queen again attacks the rook as well as covers the path of the pawn. The bishop attacks the queen. Queen goes back. Pawn push. Knight comes and attacks the rook. Rook moves over. Knight attacks the queen. Queen moves over. Knight takes the pawn. Bishop d4. G4 is played. There is a pawn majority over on this side of the board, as you can see. So if you exchange the pawns, then Aronian has his own passer. But will Hans let that happen? Let's see. Takes. Queen comes here, infiltrates on the queen side. Sorry, king side. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen attacks, queen takes, knight takes. The rook slides over. Knight takes the pawn. That was a very dangerous pawn and it has been captured. So he's safe now, Aronian. And he has 2 pawns. Niemann has 3 pawns over here. And this will be a race. This will be a good fight. Let's see what happens. King attacks the rook. Rook goes back. Knight comes here. Pawn push. Pawn takes. Knight takes. With a check. King takes the pawn. 1 pawn each. 1 rook each. And there are 2 knights. Let's see what happens. King moves. Knight moves. Just a second. Rook e7. King b3. Knight d2. King c2. Knight f3. Rook f1. After shuffling of the pieces, both agree to a draw. And here, one of the two players, I think it was Hans Niemann, who went on to the next round. So I'll be showing you the game of Arjun Erigaisi from India and Vincent Keimer from Germany. So let's start. Again, the game starts off with c4, b6, b4, e6. And this similar setup which we saw in the previous games has been played. The bishop has been traded for the knight. And now Vincent Keimer pushes his pawn forward. Arjun blocks. Vincent again pushes his pawn forward. Takes. d5, bishop e2, d4, f4, knight e4, rook h3, bishop f6, queen c2, knight d6, bishop f3. The queen comes here and the rook comes down. Knight f5, bishop c6 attacks the rook slides over, queen goes on to a safer square, and the knight goes back to attack the bishop, which is placed on a beautiful outpost. Now this is a good outpost. As you can see, the outposts which we were seeing in the previous games, those were not good outposts, even if the knight could sit there. But this over here is a beautiful outpost for the bishop because it is controlling the key squares of the black position, and it is really very dangerous. So black obviously wants to exchange that bishop. He puts his knight on e7, and let's see what Vincent Keimer plays. He puts his bishop back because that's a golden bishop. You can't give it away for a bad knight. Pawn push, that is a blunder. Why is that a blunder? because bishop h3 attacks the queen, queen up, and bishop sits here on a beautiful outpost and attacks the rook and the king. And here, after a couple of moves, here Arjun loses his rook, and right now he has queen, knight, rook, and white has queen, rook, and rook. King f7, f5, gf5, queen d1, king e6, queen b8, rook g7, queen f8, rook takes h7, queen f6, rook e7 check, queen e7, queen takes f5 check, and wherever the king moves, after all, Arjun is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and his opponent, sorry, Vincent Keimer is having 5 pawns, and Arjun is having 4 pawns, and Vincent has a strong passer on this side, which can't be stopped because the rook over here has been blocked. The rook can't go here, here. Even if the rook goes here, by that time this pawn will just reach to the last rank. And this square over here, this is protected by the king himself. So here, Vincent Keimer wins and he completely demolishes Arjun Erigasi. He made that mistake. That is why he could capitalize. So yeah, let's look at the next game. I hope you all are enjoying. Please like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to follow my content. I'll be bringing more such games. Let's move on to the next game. The next game is between Javakir Sindarov and Parham Maksudlu. Let's see. Again, the game starts off with c4, f5, b4, b6, bishop a4, c6, d4. This is a very, solid position as all of these central squares are being controlled by the pawns. And here, Parham plays e6, bishop comes back, knight comes out, knight out. Again, this knight is out. Both players bring their knights out. He maneuvers his knight, Parham, and this knight is put to the center of the board. The bishop comes here to take that knight. Rook comes over to d1, bishop b7, queen c1, and this pawn is pushed forward to break in the center. He does not allow any breakage and he plays h4. Queen comes over to d8, rook h3, that's a rook lift. Queen comes over to e7, bishop b2, rook c8, bishop a3, bc4, bishop c4, bishop d6, bishop b2, knight d5, a3, short castles, queen c2, bishop b8, bishop c1, knight d6. Both players are maneuvering their pieces from here to there, and they are waiting for the other person to make a mistake so that they can capitalize on that mistake. Let's see what happens. bg5, queen e8, bishop f4, knight c4, queen c4, queen h5, rook e1. Pawn push, queen goes back, knight comes here. The bishops can be traded. Let's see what happens. The knight takes the bishop because that was a very dominant bishop, and usually bishops are more valuable than knights. So if you can take a bishop with a knight, go for it. If it's depends on the quality of the bishop, if the bishop is a good one, then you can take it with your knight. Knight takes back, rook f6, h5, the bishop comes up, it's controlling some diagonals and key squares. Rook d1, rook goes back, queen comes back, a5 is played, takes, pawn push, knight comes back, rook takes, and the knight has been placed in a very good square. The bishop can take, actually the bishop if takes, then this pawn takes over here, and you know what, that clears up the path for this rook. So I think that is why he didn't take Param Maksudlu. Knight goes here, rook takes, knight takes rook, king up, queen b1, gf6, pawn push, bishop goes back, pawn push again, bishop goes back. He is not wanting to open up the position, Param Maksudlu. He is completely blocking Javakir Sindarov. He's not allowing him to create any kind of weaknesses in his position. And he's down to 18 seconds. Sindarov is down to 59 seconds. It's a time scramble between the both players. Queen c1. Here b4 is played, pawn takes, king takes, rook g3, rook comes over to c3, queen f4, king goes to e7, queen check, bishop blocks, knight up, queen blocks, queen saves the bishop because it was attacked twice with the queen and the knight. Queen takes, bishop takes, rook takes, pawn takes, rook comes over to block the pawn, rook takes pawn, bishop blocks and saves that pawn which was being attacked by the rook and the knight. Rook over here. Rook is wanting to infiltrate on the opponent's side. King goes back. Knight check. Bishop takes. Pawn takes. Bishop takes. Rook gives a check. King moves. King f1. And as you can see, this looks like a very good position for black. The pawn is passing over on this side. It is a passer. But as you can see, there is a dominant rook of white which is on the opposite side of the board. So here Sindarov, who is the FIDE World Cup champion, converts this position beautifully. He has a bishop. Param Maksudlu has a bishop and Sindarov has a rook. So obviously this is an exchange up for Sindarov, and the World Cup champion doesn't make any mistakes and he flawlessly converts the game, and the game ends in resignation. Even if there is a passer over here, the rook can always just catch it. So yeah, these were the games of the quarterfinals. I hope you all enjoyed. I am Chesstrovert. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.